within those small streets between those buildings. And we found the building, and he didn't want any money. He was just genuinely helping me. And I remember.
Halo teman-teman semua, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apa kabarnya nih teman-teman semua? Semoga sehat selalu ya. Dan kembali lagi bersama aku Rizky tentunya. Kali ini kita masih mau ngelanjutin requestan dari teman-teman semua. Ini ya teman-teman ya, ada salah satu pengalaman dari wisatawan pelancong gitu kan yang datang ke Malaysia. Ini bisa berakibat buruk ya, tetapi tidak berlaku di Malaysia. Kira-kira apa? Langsung saja kita nonton ya videonya.
Here, everyone is smiling, everyone is kind, and everyone is just... That perspective in life is, why would you stress out if you don't have to, right?
Meet Agata. She's from Poland and has been living in Kuala Lumpur for 7 years. We had insightful conversation about her experience of dating a Muslim Malaysian, the laid-back lifestyle of local people, and the most notable differences between Poland and Malaysia. I'm Max, an entrepreneur and YouTuber.
Kurang lebih udah 7 tahun ya tinggal di Malaysia ya.
It was just when I moved to Malaysia, so I think there was this time of, you know, Uber was just starting, or maybe I didn't even have a data on my phone yet, and I went to meet people that I knew, and going back at night, and I took a normal, you know, meter taxi, right? And getting back to my place, and I fall asleep in a taxi. You know, the driver wakes me up saying that we've arrived. And I open the door, getting out of the car, and I noticed that I don't recognize this place. I don't think it's where I lived. And again, I just moved in, so I wasn't sure 100%, you know, some buildings do look alike. So I was very, very confused, right? And just woke up from my nap in the car as well. And then I got scared back to the car, and I'm telling the driver that I don't know if that's where I live. And he was like completely, you know, worried but calm at the same time. He was like, don't worry, get back into the car. Let's find your place. Don't worry about the meter. He's not gonna switch on the meter. We'll just drive. And he was like, don't even think of walking, looking for this place on your own in the middle of the night. We're gonna find it. And true enough, he didn't switch on the meter. He was just driving with me everywhere within those small streets between those buildings. And we found the building, and he didn't want any money. He was just genuinely helping me. And I remember I was so shocked that probably if, you know, in other places people would offer that to me, I don't know if I would even agree, because, you know, it sounds suspicious, right? Get into the car, we're just gonna drive with no meter. But then that was the first story that really, you know, it was obviously super surprisingly positive, but also shocking that it wasn't just the one situation. I think it happened to me, obviously analogical stories so many times. Another time, also within, you know, those first days, I went in the middle of the night to get a satay. I didn't have anything in my fridge, so, you know, it was not too far that it was the stall selling the satay. So I went there, ate it, and I paid, and I was leaving, and the lady started, you know, shouting and calling me to go back, and I was like, did I forget something? And she was like, where are you going? And I was like, home. And she was like, you're not gonna walk alone in the middle of the night. She started calling her son to drive me off on the bike, which was literally 2 minutes by walk. Those situations are really countless. So what is surprising was definitely that selflessness and that care and that genuinity that they would help you out and they really worry. But then what's also surprising that it's not one time off. They just are like that. They are just that helpful.
How's it to date a Malaysian guy? You can tell, like, because you're from Europe, so probably you have some cultural differences with them.
Definitely, there are cultural differences, but I think overall it depends how you look at it. All the differences were always amazing me, and I was always interested in them rather than looking at them as differences, right? And I think that was forcing me to always open my mind more and more, and that's what I always tell people coming into Malaysia as well, and anywhere really in the world, right? You have to stop comparing or looking at things that are different. You need to start learning that, you know, they are different, and not different because they are different from what you know. They are just different regardless of what you know, if you know what I mean. It's just completely, you know, shutting down what you know and just learning and opening your eyes and mind to what's new. But I mean, I've been with my boyfriend for already almost 9 years, so it's been going great, as we can guess from that long time being together. But yeah, I love those little nuances that you constantly, you know, learn and discover.
Can you give an example?
The one was definitely the religion, right? He's Malay, so obviously for me to enter the whole, you know, world of getting to know Islam was something very new. So there were definitely a lot of things that I've never even thought about, like, you know, getting married and needing to convert, or...
Is it? Oh, so if you get married, you need to convert to Muslim.
Correct.
Otherwise it doesn't work.
Correct. That was definitely, you know, something that it required discussions and me deepening my knowledge as well. The other things would be for the food, keep your open mind as well, because they take it very seriously. So it needs to be a very respectful topic as well, but that's regardless of the relationship.
What's your top 3 dishes in Malaysia?
Easy. Nasi lemak. I think kolomi, so that's from Sarawak. If you haven't tried, you have to. And the third one, banana leaf. Food spoils you so much here. Like every time I go to Europe, I started bringing my sambal because, you know, you start, and I was always wondering who does that. And later when I started doing the same, I got it. I think taste develops so much here that, you know, the food from my region, which is usually using salt and pepper, and, you know, it's heavy on the potatoes and flour and bread, which usually are not very intense in flavors. Yeah, after a few days, you start really missing it.
What would you recommend to people who are moving to Malaysia? How to make friends here or how to do networking?
You know, people will be talking to you in the restaurants and you can do the same, right? I remember some of the people I was meeting, and they were my really good friends, and they are my really good friends, were people that I was meeting in the restaurant, or people when I was, you know, pitching my business to, and there was a daughter of the owner that, you know, we friended up. So I think just having it in mind that people here love it. They love talking to you. They are genuinely curious. So maybe, you know, removing that barrier that might make feel people shy of just going out there. Because I think that's the thing in at least in my country, right? It can be a little weird if you go to the stranger and start talking to them, right? And that's, by the way, was the app that I was developing as my first business to help with that. But then I quickly realized that here people don't have that much of the problem, because if they want to talk, they will approach you. It's a happy place. I feel like Malaysians are genuinely happy, and the place, it's overall very, like the lifestyle, it's very chilled, but not in a way it's unproductive, but in this way of looking at things. So when I get back to Poland, and of course I'm not saying also that that's the rule, but that's that impression, right? That when I go to Poland, it's very tense environment. Everyone is quite, you know, stressed out. You walk somewhere and you by accident, you know, poke someone with your shoulder, there is already like a fight going on, right? And there is already, you know, a lot of the tension, right, would be the good word to describe it. But then here, everyone is smiling, everyone is kind, and everyone is just, that perspective in life is, why would you stress out if you don't have to, right? So that's what I truly love and admire, because it gets into you and starts teaching you that good, you know, principles in life, that the life maybe was supposed to be about that, than, you know, constantly rushing and running and, you know, basically getting angry at every single thing, and everything can trigger you. While in Malaysia, you just are surrounded by smiles. So it kind of, it's hard to be angry and it's hard to, you know, be frustrated.
If we compare KL and Warsaw, what's the biggest differences between the places apart of the weather?
I think the convenience will be definitely a big thing. That I think Malaysia really teaches you convenience, or gets you into that convenient lifestyle, right? You get really a lot of great solutions. Grab delivery, grab food, you know, a lot of services. You know, you can basically get everything. It's really good quality. I think in Poland, in Warsaw, it's still not that digitally connected. I remember it wasn't in Warsaw, but Krakow, and I'm sure in Warsaw would be similar. I was going for dinner, staying over at my brother's place, and you know, I was running some errands, and he was stressing out, asking me about the dinner, and I was like, chill down, we're just gonna order when I get back. And he was like, what do you mean? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't deliver. And I was like, oh, come on, it does. Maybe you don't know. And then I get to his place, we have no food, and I'm checking boldly all the, you know, food apps that are there, and true enough, it's just a pickup. And I was like, whoa, in Malaysia, you can get it at like 2 a.m. You can get a food any time of the day. So it's really the convenience of things that definitely hits you. The other one would be linking to people, because it really, you go to the store here and you have a small chit chat with the, you know, a sales assistant, and you are both smiling and you are both, you know, happy. And then you go, you know, in Warsaw to the store, and again, not generalizing, because obviously there's a lot of sweethearts there as well, but I'm just giving that overall impression, right? What hits me when I go there and have that contrast. So
Ternyata
they are,
seperti
you
itu.
know, very distanced. It's very cold, not the weather-wise, but like in that feeling and the vibe, right? It's just very transactional in that sense. You just get your thing. They might or might not look at you, and you know, you split in different places. So I think people, you know, don't look at you, don't smile at you. It's just different, that vibe in the air in that sense. And I think maybe that one also links to how genuine Malaysia is as well, and Malaysians are. I think it's that, that warm and friendly, you know, feeling in everything you do, and that also goes into the, you know, circle of people. You know, they are just like, I don't think Malaysians are envious. I don't think Malaysians ever mean wrong. You know what I mean? It's just always that coming from the good place. So that's definitely the big core thing. And I'm not saying that Polish don't, but again, linking back to those to that situation that I was describing, you are a little more cautious, you know, in the shops and in those interactions.
What are your favorite places in KL?
I really always get chills when I get to KLCC Park, especially in the whole KLCC area. I think especially, you know, at night there are so many people, and the families, you know, watching the fountain, and you know, just walking around, it just feels so developed, yet jungly at the same time. It's such a beautiful, you know, scenery. And then you have the Petronas, which is, that view doesn't get old. I think the shape and the lighting is just so beautiful that anywhere around, it's one of my favorite places, especially at night. But I think it's so versatile that looks good always. So I think the whole KLCC area, that sometimes I just like to, you know, put the music and walk around and sweat because I love that vibe so much. I also like, that's probably a little weird, but I also like the food markets. It's definitely a little rush. It's not to wander around, but I do like to go to the, you know, fruit market, and you know, the locals are also very genuine. They would talk to you, they would ask you the questions, and then you have that vibrant, you know, very imagination of the Southeast Asia with, you know, people shouting, selling mangosteen, and then you have all the fresh produce and the realness of it and the smells of the food, and you know, the crowd. There is a lot of, I really like the gardens and the lake area there as well. It's definitely beautiful. I rarely really go there because I know if I get from one point to another, I will be already sweating like crazy. But it's a beautiful area as well.
I heard that it's pretty difficult to get a PR, like permanent residency.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the definitely, you know, the part that when you think about it, that, you know, you live, you have your whole life here, right? You basically not here just for the 2-year contract. You have your, literally basically a life. And then, you know, you decide to leave the job or switch the career. You basically, you know, become a tourist overnight. And after 3 months, 90 days,
you gotta leave.
Yeah, you gotta leave the country, pack up your life and leave the country. So that's definitely tough part to realize. It's very hard. I think there are places in the world that, you know, granted for you based on the years that you live in the country. I think Hong Kong is one example. Malaysia doesn't have that. I know there are ways, and they do have a lot of programs like talent visa or Malaysia My Second Home. If, I'm not sure if this is still up, but I know that there are some programs that, you know, people can explore to get alternative ways to stay in Malaysia for longer.
Untuk lama ya, biar tinggal di Malaysia.
Them as well. So there are ways.
Are you leaving?
Oh, seperti itu. Sangat
first.
menarik ya teman-teman ya, pengalaman dari salah satu pengunjung lah istilahnya ya, wisatawan, tourism istilahnya, yang sudah lama gitu ya berkunjung datang ke Malaysia, sudah lama. Jadi banyak sekali pengalaman yang bisa di-share ke kita, tentu saja. Luar biasa. Jadi biasanya memang orang-orang seperti inilah yang bisa membuka mata kita juga, men-share bahwa wah, bersyukur loh untuk teman-teman semua yang memang tinggal di Malaysia, karena itu tadi banyak sekali wisatawan asing gitu kan, orang-orang dari luar negara yang berkomentar bahwa ya itu tadi ya, sangat-sangat menyenangkan, nyaman gitu kan berada di Malaysia ya teman-teman. Ini salah satu contohnya, dan masih banyak lagi contoh yang lain bahwa memang rata-rata orang dari luar negara datang ke Malaysia itu sangat nyaman, sangat aman gitu kan, karena negara Malaysia ini sangat-sangat bersahabat gitu ya. Oke teman-teman, demikiannya video kita kali ini. Aku akhiri dulu. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sampai jumpa lagi di videoku selanjutnya. Bye bye, see you next time, bye.